If you are an American and you are thinking about dating a French partner, pause for a moment, because what you are stepping into is not just romance. It is an entire cultural storm wrapped in charm, seduction, and paradox. Welcome to Cultural Clashes, the channel where we reveal the truth about what really happens when love crosses borders. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment and share this video, because after hearing this story, you will definitely want to weigh in. At first glance, the French seem irresistible. Americans often picture candlelit dinners. In Paris, glasses of wine, intellectual conversations and endless romance. French partners are known for their sophistication, style and allure. To an American who is used to straightforward dating apps, casual dinners and quick "what are we" talks, French romance feels like stepping into a movie. But beneath the surface of charm lies a culture with rules, expectations and contradictions that often leave Americans frustrated, confused and heartbroken. Let's imagine a couple. John, a 32-year-old American from Seattle, meets Camille, a 26-year-old French woman from Lyon. John is fascinated by her elegance, her wit, and her ability to make every conversation feel meaningful. Camille is charmed by John's humor, his openness, and his positive American energy. Their first dates are intoxicating. Long walks, deep talks, and playful banter. John feels like he has finally found a woman who embodies romance itself. Camille feels excited by his optimism and directness. But soon, the fantasy collides with reality. The first clash is the definition of dating itself. In America, dating often involves clear stages: casual dating, exclusivity, and eventually commitment. In France, dating is far less defined. There are no official first, second, third date rules. Couples may spend time together for weeks without ever labeling the relationship. When John asks Camille, "So, are we exclusive?" she laughs. To her, the question feels childish, unnecessary. Relationships in France evolve naturally, without labels. For John, the lack of clarity feels unsettling. He wants certainty. She wants ambiguity. Then comes communication style. Americans are often open, expressive, and eager to discuss feelings. French partners tend to be more reserved, indirect, and nuanced. Camille rarely says, "I love you," even when she feels it. For her, words lose meaning when repeated too often. She prefers subtle gestures, a glance, a touch, a shared silence. John, who is used to verbal affirmation, feels insecure. He wants to hear the words. She thinks needing words all the time is immature. What he calls reassurance, she calls weakness. Jealousy plays out differently as well. In America, jealousy is usually seen as insecurity, something to be minimized. In France, jealousy is often woven into romance, a sign of passion and interest. When Camille flirts lightly with a stranger at a cafe, John feels hurt. She brushes it off as normal, even playful. In her world, flirting does not always mean betrayal. It is part of charm. For John, flirting outside the relationship is disrespect. For Camille, it is harmless. Their definitions of loyalty clash at every turn. Even gender dynamics create tension. Americans often emphasize equality, shared roles, and fairness in relationships. In France, roles are more fluid, but also more traditional in subtle ways. Camille expects John to be confident, decisive, and even a bit dominant. When he suggests splitting the bill, she raises an eyebrow. To her, true romance means generosity. For him, equality is respect. What he calls partnership, she calls lack of chivalry. Family involvement is another surprise. John assumes families will meet casually after a few months. Camille delays introducing him to her parents. In France, meeting family is not casual. It is serious. When she finally agrees, her parents evaluate John critically. They ask about his education, his culture, his ambitions. John tries to charm them with his humor, but they are unimpressed. In their eyes, Seriousness and intellectual depth matter more than light-hearted jokes. John leaves the dinner feeling judged, while Camille feels he didn't take it seriously enough. Work-life balance also highlights differences. Americans often work long hours, tying identity to career success. The French prioritize life, leisure, and pleasure above career. Camille criticizes John for working late. She insists on long dinners, weekend trips, and downtime. For her, a man who cannot prioritize pleasure is unattractive. For him, ambition is essential. What he calls dedication, she calls obsession. What she calls balance, he calls laziness. Romantic expectations differ as well. John showers Camille with compliments, gifts, and reassurances. At first she enjoys it, but soon she finds it excessive. In French culture, mystery is part of attraction. Too much reassurance kills desire. When John says, "You're amazing," every day, Camille feels it loses meaning. She pulls away. He, confused, gives even more compliments. The more he gives, the less she values them. What he calls love, she calls neediness. Even arguments take on different tones. Americans often argue openly, expecting resolution and closure. The French embrace disagreement as part of life. Camille enjoys debating, challenging John's ideas, and even provoking him. For her, passion in conflict keeps love alive. John, however, wants peace, compromise, and solutions. He feels exhausted. She feels bored without arguments. What he calls stability, she calls dullness. Over time, John begins to feel lost. The clarity he craves never comes. The reassurance he wants is dismissed. The equality he expects is misunderstood. Camille, in turn, feels suffocated by his need for labels, his constant words, and his American optimism. What once felt exciting now feels tiring. This is the reality for many Americans dating French partners. At first, the allure is irresistible, charm, sophistication, and romance like in the movies. But soon, Americans realize that French love is not about clarity, consistency, or comfort. It is about ambiguity, passion, and paradox. And this is only the beginning. Because as the relationship deepens, the cultural clashes become more intense. As the months pass, John and Camille's relationship becomes more complicated. What once felt like living inside a romantic film now feels like navigating an endless maze. The charm remains, but it is buried under cultural differences that neither fully understands. The first growing conflict is commitment and exclusivity. John wants clarity. He wants Camille to confirm that they are a couple, that they are exclusive, and that the relationship is moving forward. Camille resists. In French culture, relationships are understood, not declared. She believes love should flow naturally, without contracts or labels. For John, the lack of definition feels like insecurity. He accuses her of being unclear. She accuses him of being childish. What he calls honesty, she calls unnecessary pressure. Jealousy intensifies. Camille continues to flirt casually with others, considering it harmless. For her, it is part of charm, not betrayal. John struggles to accept this. He feels disrespected. When he confronts her, she insists it means nothing. But to him, love means exclusivity in behavior as well as commitment. The more he resists her flirtations, the more she feels controlled. The more she flirts, the more he feels hurt. Their cycle becomes toxic. Arguments become more philosophical. Camille loves to debate everything: politics, art, society, and even their relationship. She challenges John's views, sometimes just to provoke him. For her, debate is passion. For John, debate is conflict. He grows tired of her constant challenges. He wants peace. She wants fire. What he calls stability, she calls stagnation. Even daily habits create friction. John drinks coffee quickly in the morning, rushing to work. Camille insists on sitting at a cafe, savoring each sip. He eats meals casually, sometimes at his desk. She insists on long dinners, conversation, and enjoyment. For her, food is an experience. For him, food is fuel. When he rushes, she feels dismissed. When she lingers, he feels delayed. Work and ambition cause more problems. John pushes himself in his career, working overtime and pursuing promotions. Camille criticizes him for being too focused on work. She values leisure, quality of life, and balance. She mocks his American obsession with success. He feels judged for working hard. She feels ignored for the sake of his career. What he calls dedication, she calls obsession. Money also becomes a point of tension. John believes in generosity, often buying gifts, paying for dinners, and surprising Camille. At first, she enjoys it, but later she sees it as unnecessary. In French culture, independence is valued, and constant gift-giving feels excessive. She wants equality, not extravagance. When he continues, she feels pressured. When he stops, he feels guilty. Both are unsatisfied. Family interactions highlight more differences. John wants to be accepted warmly, casually, and with humor. Camille's family expects seriousness, intelligence, and cultural awareness. They ask probing questions, expecting depth and thoughtfulness. John, who relies on charm and jokes, feels out of place. Camille feels embarrassed by his lack of sophistication. He feels judged. She feels disappointed. Even romantic expression divides them. John believes love is shown through constant words and reassurances. Camille believes love is shown through presence, subtle gestures, and long-term stability. He feels starved of verbal affection. She feels smothered by constant declarations. The very thing he craves, she resists. Over time, John begins to feel that the relationship is draining him. He feels like he can never give enough, never meet expectations, never reach the mystery that Camille seems to need. Camille, on the other hand, feels that John is too direct, too needy, and too American in his approach to love. What once felt like attraction now feels like contradiction. This is why so many Americans struggle when dating the French. At first, the elegance, the charm, and the allure are irresistible. Americans are drawn to the mystery, the sophistication, and the passion. But soon, they discover that French love is not about clarity, stability, or reassurance. It is about ambiguity, challenge, and intensity. Americans expect commitment spelled out in words. The French expect it to be felt without saying a thing. Americans expect loyalty to mean exclusivity. The French allow flirtation as part of charm. Americans expect peace. The French expect fire. Does this mean Americans and French can never work? Not always. Some couples succeed. Some Americans learn to embrace the ambiguity, the debates, and the intensity. Some French partners learn to give more reassurance, more clarity, and more stability. But this requires extraordinary patience and compromise. And the truth is, most are not prepared for that level of effort. Most of these romances burn brightly at first, but burn out fast. Not because of lack of love, but because love alone is not enough to bridge two cultures with such different definitions of what love should be. So, should Americans date French partners? Only if they are ready to trade clarity for ambiguity, comfort for passion, and stability for intensity. Only if they are prepared to live in a world where love is not simple, but layered, paradoxical, and sometimes exhausting. Because dating a French partner is not just about romance, it is about entering a